foremost. My numbers are better than 15, 16 or so guys that are currently in the Hall.
Here's the handoff to Taylor looking for some cutback. He finds some room, looking Fred go. He's across the 30. Look at him run. Fred's going. He's at the 50, the 40.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
20, 10, 5, touchdown. 80 yards, Fred Taylor.
Talking modern day guys at my position.
When my name come up, respect. Stop playing with my name. I ain't
Go
gonna
right
say
on
it.
in.
And he's the handoff to Fred looking for the cutback. He's got room right in the 10. Fred's in there. He's at the 20. Fred's on the run to the 25 and the 30. He's going 40. Fred 50. Fred 40. Fred 30. Fred 25, 20.
Y'all saying my name, put some respect on it.
You look at the guys that are in the Hall of Fame from a defensive standpoint. Ray Lewis, Derrick Brooks. Look at all these other guys they're trying to put in the Hall of Fame.
Gerard on the give. Here's Taylor.
Put some respect.
Busting through. Fred Taylor making the cut. Taylor is gone. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
These the same dudes that I murked every Sunday.
When my name come up, respect. Stop playing with my name. I ain't
Go
gonna say
right
it.
on in.
But he knows he doesn't have a big play team, and Jacksonville does. Draw play. Taylor skips 2 tackles. Right, and here we go. Yeah. Bye-bye. Brock Marion chasing. Brock Marion still chasing. Gets help from Smith. Touchdown. No flags. A 90-yard run.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and RJ Saunders.
All right, welcome in, everybody, and happy Tuesday. No more tape to check around these parts, at least not fresh Jacksonville Jaguars tape, but that doesn't mean we don't have questions for Jeff Lageman today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and yes, Jeff Lageman joining us from a remote locale. Good morning, Logs. How are you?
Morning, boys. How we doing?
We're good. Did you watch the national championship game last night?
I did, and man, what a run on that fourth down by was it Fernandez?
Fernando Mendoza, yes.
Fernando Mendoza. Okay, I want to make sure I got the name right. But I mean, that run that he had on fourth down, wow.
Yeah, that was big time play.
Big time play, great effort, and that's, he's going to be the first overall pick of the draft.
Do you think it's deserving, or is that just the best of the quarterback lot, so that's by default going to be the selection?
Well, I mean, look, that's the one position that can change the direction of a franchise. And when you've got an opportunity with the first overall pick, you do absolutely take a quarterback, unless it's a very poor quarterback year. And I think Mendoza is the first overall pick quarterback. I mean, just the decision making that he's shown in the limited games that I've watched, because you guys know I'm not a huge college football watching guy. I think he's a franchise quarterback. He's got all the tools and the makeup to be able to be that guy.
When do you typically start looking at anything in the draft? This year's a little bit different, obviously, with the Jags not having a first-round pick, but when typically in your schedule do you start looking at prospects?
Usually right in March, Tony, somewhere in that range, and kind of give an opportunity to let a lot of the scouting services to come out with a list. And the only reason that I wait for that is just because it gives me a little bit of bearing, instead of just trying to figure out who the top 100 guys are, which is typically what I'm going to watch. It gives me, a couple different services that rank guys, overall, and then I focus in on those guys just because that's, as far as our broadcast responsibilities, that's where I'm at. And then gives me an idea. I can get a really good idea of where the talent is in the first round and into the second round. And then once it gets beyond that, then it's an after the draft kind of thing. So when the Jaguars have their draft and they're done, then I'll start watching the specific film on those picks just so I get an idea on kind of traits, and I can, be conversant in some of their abilities on all the different broadcast levels.
So, Lux, we don't know. I mean, free agency comes first, and we don't know who will be retained and who will be let go, who will be added to this roster. But as it stands now, as Tony mentioned, Jags' first pick will come at pick 56. They'll have 3 third-rounders presently.
It's a good number, by the way.
Well, some think so, absolutely. Yourself included. I've got a jersey with your number on it that indicates so. What would you like to see the Jags focus on? Not knowing, I'm not asking you for specific players. Just what areas of the team would you like to see a little bit of an infusion of youth come in?
Well, I think you definitely need to look at on the defensive side of the ball first. I mean, that's where I think the glaring needs are. I think you need to find a younger interior pass rusher, edge rushers as well, anybody that can affect the quarterback, and then the corner position, because I think those are premium positions on defense. I think that's where when you have a value pick, and 56 is a value pick, that's where you want to spend those resources. Other positions, I think you can always find talent late. I think you can find wide receivers late. I think you can find offensive linemen later. Linebackers, I think you can also find in later rounds. When I say later rounds, mid rounds to late rounds. But I'm a big believer in that rounds 1, 2, and 3 are premium position picks, unless there's because I don't put safety in that. But at the same token, if there's a Kyle Hamilton there, because I remember when Kyle Hamilton was coming out, and it's the same thing with the Seattle Seahawks safety that they drafted this past year from South Carolina. What was it? What's his name again?
Nick Emenwari.
Thank you. I thought he was worth one of the value picks in rounds 1, 2, or 3. So, I mean, it's not very often that you have that at that position, but every now and again it warrants it. But the corner, the pass rusher, and that's interior, and then also edge player, the offensive tackle, quarterback, and wide receiver, tight end to some extent. But it's got to be a special player, kind of like safety. But those are the resources I think that you got to be smart about allocating them, and you got to have a strong belief. And I believe that running back is not one that you pick high with. I'm not a big believer in that you pick a running back with a first round pick.
Yeah, which the trade up for Travis Hunter might have saved us from doing that last year. A lot of people think if they were unable to pull that off, that Ashton Genty would have ended up a Jacksonville Jaguar. Logs, you might not have heard it, but I talked with Tony last week. I spoke with Greg Bell of the Tacoma News Tribune last week, previewing some of the NFL matchups. He covers the Seattle Seahawks, of course, and they drafted Nick Emenwari in part because they thought he was a Christian McCaffrey eraser potentially, and thought he did an excellent job of that late in the season. A lot of teams will do that. You'll draft because like if you're in a division with Peyton Manning, right? You got to face him for the next decade. You've got to have the guys that can get after Manning and pressure the quarterback, whatever. Is there a player or position group in this division that you look at and say the Jags need to draft because this guy or this aspect of this team is going to be an issue for the next few years?
I think the only dominant area in the division outside of the Jaguars team, to me, is the edge rushers with Houston. I mean, those two guys are just absolutely dominant. And so, what if I had a chance at drafting, a left tackle or a right tackle, and at that pick at 56, and he was rated much higher than where I had that pick at? Absolutely, I would consider that, just because of the existence of those two guys in Houston. They're that good. I mean, they completely changed the game, and it's the reason why Houston was able to go as far in the playoffs and into the postseason as they did. I mean, if without those two guys, Houston is not very good. They definitely don't get on a 9-game winning streak to close the season out, and they don't get a postseason berth.
I know, Logs, you've mentioned several times over the last couple of years that you think Anton Harrison could wind up being the left tackle for the football team. Do you ever hear whispers of that in your time around the team, or the people that you get to be around with the team, that may still be a part of the future for Anton Harrison?
No, I don't hear it, but I think it's an obvious talking point, and I think it's something that absolutely has to be looked at. And I think after the 23 season, I don't even think that you would, or excuse me, after the 24 season, you wouldn't consider it, because Anton didn't have a very good year. But after the year that he had this past year, and knowing what his history was, having played left tackle before at Oklahoma, then I think you got to consider it. And you also have to consider it just because, you guys heard me mention before that having a conversation with Cole Van Lannon, he loves to play tackle. and he's a little bit more comfortable on the right side. And some guys are like that. Maybe it's a set thing. Some guys it's a hand thing. They have dominant hands, and they want the dominant hand to either be the inside or the outside arm. So that can affect which side that they prefer. Some guys have the ability to anchor better on the left side or the right side. So I think it's definitely something that you got to look at. And Anton Harrison, you got to give him a lot of credit. And I also give a lot of credit to Tony Baselli, because I think Tony mentored him in a lot of ways this year. And I think you would be crazy not to listen to a guy like Tony Baselli if you're Anton Harrison. And I know that they've talked a lot throughout the season. And obviously, it's a conversation that's worth having, because you got a Hall of Fame left tackle in Tony Baselli, and a young player in Anton Harrison that needed to get better. And he clearly got better this year. How many times did we talk about Anton Harrison this past year, about getting downfield and blocking and finishing plays?
A lot.
And compare that to how many times did we talk about that in the first 2 years of his career?
Not nearly as much, right?
Rarely, if ever.
Yeah.
I mean, we just didn't. We always said that he doesn't finish, and he would never get downfield and finish like he did this past year. So good to see, and he clearly has left tackle talent, just because he's got the feet. To play left tackle, you got to have great feet, and Anton has excellent feet. Excellent feet.
All right, that is the voice of Jeff Logman. It is not officially a Check the Tape Tuesday, but it is a pour in your questions for Jeff for the upcoming offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of Tuesday. So you're welcome to do that on the Key Buick GMC phone lines at 641-1010. Same number for the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Stream us on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, or hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at Logs 56, and at R has no J. RJ, how do you grade yourself after day one of the full-time producing gig here on Jaguars Today?
I'll give myself a C. C's get degrees. There's a room for improvement, as always, but I'll start with a C. C's
get degrees. I like that. You know what? Always you don't want to set the bar too high on your first day, right? You don't want to come in with, something that's going to have you go to summer school. But
then there would be an expectation.
I would have graded you a little bit better than that myself. But all right, we'll go with a C for the first day for R.J. Saunders in control of the dials today. If you'd like to get in, you know the ways to do it. Bring your questions, comments, or otherwise for Jeff Loggeman on the Jacksonville Jaguars front. And let's talk Jaguar ball for the next 2 hours on a sort of Check the Tape Tuesday here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for big number one Duval Ford. You know them as Jacksonville's number one Ford dealer. Why wouldn't you? They have an unbeatable selection of F-150s, Super Duties, and Broncos with transparent pricing, fast trade appraisals, and a no-pressure buying experience. And did I tell you about their mobile service? Ford Mobile Service comes to you at home or at work, available for oil changes, filters, battery replacement, you name it, a whole lot more, no extra fees, same dealership quality delivered. Stop by and see them at 1616 Cassett Avenue and be amazed at the showroom that Duval Ford presents, or check them out online at duvalford.com.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Tailgating around the clock.
Either way, we ought to have a lot of fun, huh?
Sports are made for celebrating. With 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. When you're inside the Kuhn Flowers showroom, you'll find a wide array of gift ideas that will take care of any gift-giving situation. Spend a few minutes there, and you'll see for yourself. That's Kuhn Flowers on Beach Boulevard.
Jaguars Today Tuesday, kept pest-free by Julington Creek Pest Control.
Be the first to discover the best new home community in beautiful Green Cove Springs. Highland Trail, where the rhythm of life slows down. Enjoy green spaces, luxury pools, pickleball courts, winding trails, and more at livehighlandtrail.com. Choose from 3 premium builders, just starting in the 300s.
Oh, at Highland Trail. Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Lucy Pearson, senior swimmer and soccer player at Wilson High. Lucy is a member of the National, French, and Speech and Debate Honor Societies. She's been accepted to attend UNF. Congratulations, Lucy.
Did you know there's local savings sitting in your mailbox right now? Money Pages is packed with real coupons from your favorite local businesses. Save money at restaurants like Al's Pizza, on pet care at Forever Vets, and on entertainment for the whole family at the Alhambra Theater. Plus, make sure to download the Money Pages app for savings on the go. Money Pages in your mailbox right now.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Do you want to grow your career with a company that's committed to growing with you? Florida Home AC has aggressive plans to double their workforce, and they're looking for determined, resourceful people with initiative. Just log on to floridahomeac.com/careers to find out more. We're talking a competitive, guaranteed base salary with bonus opportunity, comprehensive paid training programs, and promotions based upon performance and top-shelf benefits. It's all waiting for you. Log on to floridahomeac.com/careers. Florida Home AC, equal opportunity employer.
Get your tickets for the Tom Coughlin J Fund Wine Tasting Gala. Join Super Bowl winning coach Tom Coughlin at VyStar Ballpark Thursday, March 5th and raise a glass to help local families tackling childhood cancer. Enjoy hundreds of wines from around the world and food from top local restaurants. Buy tickets and learn more at tcjfund.org/wine. tcjfund.org/wine.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Jeff Lageman Tuesday on Jaguars Today is brought to you by Napa Auto Care. Go to the pros Napa know-how. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com on 1010XL.
I think R.J. Saunders, this might be eclectic in his music taste, Tony. I haven't figured him out. It's only been, it's day 2. Here he led off with Christopher Cross yesterday, as expected. But we'll find out over the course of the week.
We will.
I don't know if Denmark really had a, He didn't play his musical interests, I don't think.
Not always,
as much. Occasionally when I had to ask him, who is this, it would be somebody that the younger generation would love. What would you say is your favorite genre of music there, Mr. Saunders?
R&B.
R&B?
Probably.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough.
R&B would be my thing.
Getting to know you. We got Jeff Logman here. Logs, a lot of people want more pass rush, right? You alluded to it. If you're, one of the premium positions, and it never hurts to have more. You got Trayvon Walker. This offseason is going into his 5th-year option season. The club picked it up, obviously, and he'll earn $15 million. He'll be age 26 this year. What is your long-term plan if you are James Gladstone in dealing with Trayvon? You want him here? What are you willing to pay him? Are you willing to pay him as a top edge rusher? And if he wants that $30 million plus a year and you don't see eye to eye, what's your game plan to best utilize Trayvon Walker?
Well, you want to keep him just because, he's one of those kind of culture guys on defense. I've all year long I've kind of called him the bully, and he's one of the big reasons why the Jaguars had the number one run defense ranking in the National Football League. But I don't think he's an elite edge rusher. I think he's a very good edge rusher that has some ability to play multiple positions along the defense. I think he can drop into coverage. He can kick down inside as a three. He can play the big end, and he can play on the edge. But the reality is that he's 27 and a half career sacks in 4 years, and one of the reasons why it's not higher than that was the injuries that he had this past year. So it's all about numbers. I mean, he's one of those guys that you can tell that James Gladstone really likes. If you watched the end of the year press conference that they had, he was talking glowingly about Trayvon Walker and about one of those foundational culture guys, and he's dead on. I mean, he's one of those guys that loves the football team. He's a great teammate, works incredibly hard. He's able to play through injuries, and he's always there. He shows up every week, and he always makes an impact in some way, shape, or form. But in my opinion, you just can't pay him, like a TJ Watt or one of those guys that's on the edge, because the numbers don't prove that. But you want to find a way to reach a number that's comfortable for both sides, because you don't want to let him go.
Logs, we spent so much of Eric Armstead's first year here trying to figure out what exactly was going on, right, with Eric Armstead, and why they ever thought it was a good idea to play him as an edge guy as opposed to an interior guy. This year, going into his second year here in Jacksonville, they moved him inside. When you look at his season overall, how would you grade the year Armstead had?
I thought I'd give him probably, a B, just because I still think that there's some room for improvement. And obviously the hand injury, I think, impacted him a little bit, but I thought he had a great year. You go back to the year before when Ryan Nielsen was the defensive coordinator, and there was this kind of arbitrary, unknown positional designation. I mean, what the hell that was all about, I have no idea. But the relationship with Trent Baalke and all that, I mean, it was just a weird deal. And I don't know who was telling the truth and who was lying with that whole thing about, is he an end? Is he a tackle? But what I loved about the new leadership structure is that that's one of the things that when they took over, they made it very crystal clear to everybody, player, fans, the team. Eric Armstead is a defensive tackle, and that's it. And they allowed him to focus on that. And I think as the year evolved with his injury and also the emergence of Matt Dickerson, it allowed Eric to kind of lower the reps and really concentrate on being more of that pass rush presence on the inside. And I think he had a great year. And I think he's under contract for another year. And I think prior to the start of this past season, if you had asked me then, I'd say he won't be back. I think they're going to try to find a way to bring him back. I think he did a great job with with his staff and with the organization this past year.
All right, we'll get to more questions on the defensive line with Jeff Loggeman coming up, but let's encourage you to call in on the phone lines and give you that feedback like Gavin's going to get right now in St. John's. Gavin, you're on Jaguars Today with Jeff Loggeman. Go ahead, buddy.
Hi, how's it going?
Very well. What's up?
So I was wondering, what your guys' top 5 free agent targets would be for the Jags. Offense or defense, either one.
Okay, I'll be honest. I don't have a list of top 5 free agent targets right now, but I can bring them up. Logs, have you looked at the impending free agent list? I've focused more on positions. I think you got to know what holes you've got. What are you opening up and not signing your own guys before I can know exactly which guys I'm going to bring in, Jeff? What about you? Have you looked at the free agent landscape, and is there anybody that has caught your eye so far?
I mean, I really haven't. I mean, just because to me, I don't really waste a lot of time, just because I view it as a little bit of a waste of time, and because you've got a lot of time until you get to the part where free agency actually starts and guys are going to get signed. Up until then, but I will take a look at it probably in the next couple weeks as free agency approaches.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look at, let's go through a quick top 10 here from CBS, all
Okay.
right? And we can rule a few guys out, right, based on position and the strengths and weaknesses of this football team. They've got, and this is their ranking, so, it's not gospel, but George Pickens, the Dallas Cowboy wide receiver, I don't see the Jags being in the market for a wide receiver. Would we agree on
Nor
that?
should, well, definitely not him.
Okay, but even so, like, if you're going to sign a wide receiver, it's not going to be a top of the depth chart guy, you wouldn't think, right? Or am I wrong on that?
No, I don't think so. I think that to me, that position, I think they feel really, I don't want to say great about, they feel good about it, and it falls down the priority list.
All right, as a follow-up on that, from Bush Drive Rich on Twitter, in terms of a big-bodied wide receiver, would you want to retain Tim Patrick or go after a younger one in the draft? Or does that matter that much when you're getting that far down the depth chart?
Well, I mean, would you like to address a younger one in the draft? Sure. But you're not opposed to bringing Tim Patrick back. I mean, the cost for Tim Patrick is very, very reasonable. I think this past year it was a little over $2 million, which is very affordable. And I love the way that Tim Patrick blocks, the way he goes about his business. I don't think he's a great receiver by any stretch. So I don't sit there and say, oh, we gotta have him, but you also need to try to find some youth there. But I mean, yeah, bring them back and let them compete for a job. But that doesn't mean you're not going to go out and draft a young player that might be able to fill that role in the future. Competition is great.
All right, just moving down the CBS list here. Trey Hendrickson. I think we'd like Trey Hendrickson. I think Trey Hendrickson is in a cost area that is out of the Jags marketplace. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty stiff to be able to try to find a way to get him into the fold with Trayvon. I think is going to be more of a priority there, and then you would probably use draft capital to supplement that position because you're already paying out a lot of money for Josh Hines Allen, and eventually I think you're going to pay quite a bit for Trayvon.
Daniel Jones, obviously we're not in the market for a quarterback. At number 4, they've got Jalen Phillips, the Philadelphia edge rusher. He's 26 years old. I mean, I like him. I think he's looking probably for a bigger money deal than the Jags are likely to be able to serve up. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and that kind of falls into the category of Trey Hendrickson. I think you're going to use draft capital to kind of balance the sheet a little bit there at that position.
All right, here's an interesting one. Ravens center Tyler Linderbaum. Okay, I know we're happy with Robert Hainsey this year, but he's not here for the long term. Linderbaum's only 25 years old, has graded out at Pro Football Focus as a top 5 center. Even though they feel pretty good about the group that they have on the offensive line, if you could get a young centerpiece, no pun intended, for the next 4 or 5 years, is that something that the Jags might look at?
I think you have to look at that, and no offense to anybody else, because look, I think that Robert Hayes, he's a really good football player. But look, Linderbaum is one of the top 3 centers in football, period. And you don't just ignore a top 3 positional player just because you feel like, oh well, we're okay. I think you always have to look to improve, and he's one of those guys that you at least have to have a conversation about it.
All right, well, those are the top 5. We'll get to the other 5 here coming up, but I want to get a couple of calls in with you as well. Just kind of picking through some of the guys that are going to headline free agency this year, which might not be the market the Jags are playing in, quite frankly, due to cap space constrictions and things like that. Let's get Dean on the south side next up on Jaguars Today. Dean, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I want to talk to you about the situation with the coaches losing their jobs and the teams that are in the Final Four for the Super Bowl, though, as far as organizational issues, as far as procuring help and stuff like that. I mean, do you think the Jags are in a better situation now with the team we have in place as far as procuring help?
Explain. Are they in a better position in terms of procuring help? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at like the Rams. They've been in the last couple of Super Bowls, and that's where the GM came from the Ram organization. So, I mean, I think part of it is just getting your roster so you can compete. When you get down to the playoffs, just making the playoffs, it's not good enough. So, being able to compete for the Super Bowl is the ultimate prize.
Okay.
If you're in the playoffs, you're competing for a Super Bowl. I mean, look, I mean, I'm not quite exactly sure where you're going with that, but I mean, look, it's year one under the leadership that we currently have, and I believe that with a couple years of James Gladstone having the ability to work some of his magic, I think the roster is going to be even better. On top of getting to have some of these guys that were selections this past year have an impact on the roster going forward. So, but yeah, hey, look, if any, I mean, right now, this Jaguars football team, I believe, could contend for a Super Bowl right now. I mean, they did this year. I mean, look at who they played and who they beat and who they competed with. I mean, look who was in the final eight. I mean, you beat the Texans, you beat the San Francisco
Beat Denver handily
49ers,
on the
beat
road.
Denver.
Yeah.
If you played Buffalo 4 times, I think you beat them two or three times.
Right. And
You
look,
know?
Seattle and the Rams punched them in the mouth in the middle of the season. By the way, the Rams have not been in the last couple Super Bowls. They were last in it following the 2021 season. So, they haven't been in any of the last 3 Super Bowls. They've been very good, don't get me wrong. I do agree, like, when you saw the playoffs and when you started, you would have bet big money that Carolina or Pittsburgh would not win the Super Bowl, right? And I get it that they're in there, that they have the chance to do that. But there are some teams that make it to the playoffs that you really don't consider a true contender. I think this year, you're right, the Jags, that's the shame of it all. There was no one super team, certainly not in the AFC, that team alone you thought, man, we just can't get by them. They could have beaten Buffalo, right? And then who knows?
Sure.
Would they have beaten New England? Maybe, maybe not. We'll never know. Under those conditions and on that particular day. But I do think, Lugs, when you've got an environment where you turn a team around from 4 wins to 13 wins, people are going to want to be a part of that. Right? Or am I wrong? I mean, I would
No,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
Players talk,
Absolutely.
right? They know what kind of culture the Jags fostered here in the first season. And I would think that's going to play well for guys that are looking for the opportunity to compete for a championship.
I think the record. I think the record will be very attractive. I believe that the facilities are top notch, which is attractive. The tax situation, the lifestyle that you have and living in Jacksonville, and on top of that, the structure of the building, the structure of the organization with James, Tony, and Liam, and you've got a head coach that I think is outstanding and is a great communicator. And when you get free agents in and Liam is able to talk to players, I think that, and I'm not trying to say that he's selling a bill of goods that aren't true. I'm just saying just by him being himself is going to be able to sell the free agents and give them the desire to want to come to Jacksonville. So no, I'm excited about that. But the one thing too that, to go back to the conversation about, are you a contender or not a contender? This football team is a contender as long as Trevor Lawrence plays the way that he did in the second half of the season. And if that continues, then a lot of the conversation about what they have and what they don't have in other areas is not that important. Just because if you have a quarterback that's playing at a high level, you can draft not great and still have a chance. But if you draft great and you have a quarterback that's playing like Trevor did in the second half of the season, which was legitimate MVP level, then you got a chance every year.
All right, he is Jeff Lageman. It is a pseudo check the tape Tuesday here. No tape to check, but plenty of thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars with the offseason stretching out in front of them. If you want to get in, 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines, and hit us up on social media or the text line as well. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Make Capital Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top-quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. Big Chief Tire makes getting new tires easier than ever with the Big Chief credit card. There's no annual fee, low monthly payments, and great promotional financing. Plus, you get free flat repairs and rotations, even $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. I love how simple they make everything at Big Chief Tire. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com to apply for the credit card and let Big Chief help you get back on the road with confidence.
It's a Jaguars Today Tuesday, sparked by Julington Creek Pest Control.
Checkmate.
I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the adorable chess man on the trucks.
There are two things you should ask yourself about your garage floor. How clean is it now, and how clean would you like it to be? A typical bare concrete floor doesn't just collect dirt, it makes dirt.
It is literally made of dirt.
As much as you sweep and mop, the dust and grit just never ends.
And drips from your car seep into the pores, staining the concrete forever.
A Checkmate multi-layer floor resists drips and stains. It comes in your choice of dozens of colors and sweeps up sparkling clean in just seconds.
No need to wear shoes in the garage and track dirt back in the house.
Gorgeous?
Check. Durable?
Check. Tidy enough to walk on wearing clean white socks? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com. That's CheckmateCoatings.com.
I'm Frank Franzi, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee in Folkestone. Man, was I impressed. You have to see these handcrafted cabins. But act fast. On this 1,000-acre farm, there will only be 250 cabins. Each phase has jumped in value, so come get your lot and lock in your equity. Enjoy living in harmony with nature, going to the grocery store in your own backyard, and connecting with people grounded in food and purpose. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Tacos and sports go hand in hand, literally. You can watch the game with a taco in each hand or with a taco in one hand and a tennis racket in the other. Don here from Taco Lou in Jax Beach. I love sports, and since you're listening to this station, you love sports as well. If you love sports and tacos, then Taco Lou is calling your name. You can watch the game here or call in a to-go order to watch at home. Or we could cater your next watch party. It's a new year, so let's get off to a great start at Taco Lou in Jax Beach. Cheers to tacos, sports, and tequila.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
New year, new lifetime dreams. Let's build them together. Jeff Breyer here with the Lifetime family of companies, your local backyard
and indoor
home improvement specialists.
That's right, Dad. Lifetime enclosures, lifetime flooring, and lifetime windows.
Glass and screen enclosures, outdoor kitchens, pergolas, replacement windows, all to enhance your home's livability and value.
And a huge flooring showroom with thousands of the latest tile, LVP, hardwood, and carpet selections to help you fall in love with your home again.
Come experience the lifetime difference. Call or visit one of our showrooms today for our limited lifetime offers.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Jeff Lageman, Tuesday,
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care. Go to the pros Napa know-how. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com on 1010XL.
All right, we got logs for another couple weeks, including today, so take advantage out there on the Key Buick GMC phone lines at 641-1010. If you want to get in, we'll get back to CBS list of the top pending NFL free agents here coming up in a moment with logs, and just get his quick yes or no on whether the Jags should be in on some of these top guys.
I did have a question for you guys, though, because you were talking about Linderbaum at the center position for the Jacksonville Jaguars as a potential name, maybe, just throwing names out there. Should that be a guy they consider? I wanted to know from you guys and also from Logs, does that mean that you're kind of turning a blind eye and saying Jonah Monheim is not your long-term answer at center? Because that's what I thought when they first drafted him, that Hainsey will be here for a couple of years, and then, Jonah Monheim's going to take that position once he's gone. But do you think if they were to go out and let's just say they're looking at a Linderbaum from Baltimore, they're saying, we just don't think Monheim is going to be that guy long term?
I got you. Logs, for me, and obviously want to get your take on it as well, and Tony as well. I just think, guys, it's a case of you have a chance to get a top 3 to 5 player at his position.
Yeah.
You have to explore it.
Baltimore's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place with Linderbaum. They declined the 5th-year option because it was going to be like $23 million because of the position that he's at, right, and where he was in the draft. So they said no to that. The franchise tag, if they're going to use it on him, is $27 million because it's just offensive line, all in one group. So they're kind of stuck trying to negotiate a contract for a guy who may be among the top 3 guys in his position in the entire league at center. What does that look like? Right? Like you only have the other contracts in the league to even compare it to, when you're trying to figure this thing out. So Baltimore, it's a tough spot to be in trying to just get the math done.
So Logs, what about it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's one of the reasons why his contract is expiring. And would not be surprised if all of a sudden he doesn't make it to free agency because I know that the Ravens covet him.
Sure.
But to go to RJ's question about Jonah Monheim, RJ, who says that Jonah Monheim is only a center? I mean, let's go back to his days at USC. I mean, he played guard and he played tackle. I mean, he's got positional versatility or flexibility, and so why not have him be able to play multiple positions? So I wouldn't look at that as if you went out and you got a Linderbaum or a top center, and maybe Hainsey ends up staying on the team or whatever. Then Monheim can play another position. Look, I think he's a good athlete, and he's obviously a good enough athlete to where at SC he did play multiple positions. So, and I think he's definitely got a future with the Jaguars. But again, let's not just put him at the center position because he can play multiple.
Right, and look, even if he, it'd be great if he can turn into a value in the 7th round as a long-term answer at the key offensive line position. But if Jonah Monheim does nothing but stay on this roster for 4 years, that's better than you get out of most 7th-round picks and, provide you the opportunity to come in as a depth lineman. I'm not saying he can't be better than that, but if that's all he ever is, he's still a value in the 7th round.
And I think he's already shown that he is more than that, right? Like when he's been on the field, he's been fine, at whatever they're going to be asking him to do, Jeff. And I do think the flexibility he has, puts them they can be comfortable if they want to bring in guys at different positions and move Monheim around a little bit on the interior. If that's what he winds up being, that's okay, especially for a 7th-round pick. If he winds up being the long-term answer at center, I think that's okay too. Like I think there are a lot of options available to him, but it does come down to where do you want to spend what and for whom. And I think Linderbaum is a good enough player that it's worth being in the discussion. I think we all agree that Hendrickson is worth having the discussion about him being the impact he could have on your roster. I think the money's going to be too crazy for them to even be in the same neighborhood as what Hendrickson's going to be looking for. So it feels way more a stretch to talk about them landing Hendrickson to me than it does a guy like Linderbaum.
Yeah, it could be, but until the conversations start, you still, have the conversations to see where it kind of is going to be and what the expectations are. But to go back to Monheim just for a second, because he was one of multiple 7th-round picks, and look at him. I mean, Joe Monheim got quality starts and played really well when Hainsey got hurt a couple times this season. LaQuinn Allen Jr. had a significant role with his football team. Raywan Lane, another late-round pick, did a really good job. And in my opinion, he's a Pro Bowl caliber special teams player. B.J. Green, Danny Strigout, Branson Combs. I mean, these 3 undrafted guys on defense all earned the opportunity to wear a hat and a jersey on game day because they're good football players. And so picks like that in the later rounds and picks like that, or not even really picks, but the ability to sign undrafted guys and to be able to get that done because, look, you're competing with other teams. I think that goes to show you that the Jaguars are in good hands because we've said for many years that the lifeblood of every franchise is the draft. And it's not just the draft. It's the pipeline of talent that you keep coming in with, whether it be undrafted guys in free agency. And the job that they've done, and in particular, James Gladstone, they have done a fantastic job in just 1 year, which makes me excited for the coming years. Because if you can get that have the kind of impact that you've had in year one, can you imagine the long-term impact? I mean, it's just, to me, it's exciting.
All right, let's take a time out here so we can get back on time a little bit. If you're on the line, we'll get to you coming out of this quick break with Jeff Logman. We'll wrap up hour one straight ahead on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, owned and operated by a local family, the Thompsons, since way back in 1956. 70 years of service here as a First Coast business. Look, 1956 was when sandwiches were sold out of beer flats on the counter, unrefrigerated, right by the register. You could get a ham and cheese for like a quarter. Of course, a lot's changed since then, but one thing hasn't changed, and that's Dandy's commitment to making quality sandwiches for their customers, you. Whether it's a classic Cuban made with authentic Cuban bread or a delicious home-style cranberry chicken salad, Danny's got a little something for everybody. Fast, fresh, waiting for you in the cold case at convenience stores all over town. You're going to find them at all daily stores with a wide selection to choose from. And not just sandwiches and subs. A full breakfast menu, protein packs, veggie trays, gourmet salads, you name it. Dandy's got something. If you're hungry in Duval, Dandy's the name to know. So do what I do when you are. Go out and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. It's the power of the spoken word and your imagination.
Daniel Murphy waits on the 0-1, and there's a drive. Deep right field. That ball's gone.
1010XL, your radio home for play-by-play.
Daniel Murphy.
It's the Happy Renewal Year sale at Renewal by Anderson. Buy one, get one, 40% off replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. But this offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613. It's Jaguars Today, Tuesday.
Protected by Shirlington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
Your home is your sanctuary, where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Annie Craig Charnley, senior basketball player at Wilson High. Annie is the co-president of the National Honor Society and is on the AB Honor Roll and the AP Scholar Award.
If you've been in an auto accident, you can count on the experts at San Jose Collision to return your vehicle to pre-accident conditions. San Jose Collision can also provide a fresh paint job to freshen up your vehicle or completely change its appearance. They can paint and repair all foreign and domestic cars and trucks. When quality and professionalism are important to you, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Look around and we know you've got options for gasoline, but those other places, they're not in the business of more. At Shell, that's what you get every day. Members get more rewards, more savings, more special offers. You'll even get 10 cents per gallon off of your first fill when you sign up and save on every fill after that. Choose to get more and more with every drive. Join the Shell Fuel Rewards program today at fuelrewards.com. Offer valid at participating Shell locations. Offer must be redeemed within 60 days of registration. Limit 20 gallons. Restrictions apply. Visit fuelrewards.com for more information.
Ace Carline here for Atlantic Infinity, and yes, I'm still loving my new QX60. Right now, you can lease one or lock in just 1.9% financing for 60 months, and every new Infinity comes with the Atlantic Infinity Promise. That's over $7,000 in added value. That's one of many reasons why I bought mine there. No pressure, no games, just a great experience. Make your next ride an Infinity from Atlantic Infinity. Visit AtlanticInfinity.com or the showroom near Atlantic and St. John's Bluff.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem? Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's Terminix.com. That's right, Terminix it.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is kept running better than ever by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, here with Jeff Lageman, Tony Smith, RJ Saunders. I'm Mike Dempsey. This is Jaguars Today. You have questions for Logs. We'd love to hear them, and love to hear the answers as well at 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines. Let's go back out to it. Logs, Brandon in Jacksonville Beach is up next here on the program. Hello, Brandon.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. What's up?
So I want to talk about Devin Lloyd a little bit. I know that everybody's kind of writing it off that he's going to be leaving, but isn't the thing about when's the last time we had an all-pro defensive in the last little while? It isn't about kind of homegrown. He was a drafted guy, so everything's in the draft. Well, we want to try to keep him. Second thing is someone to take kind of a look at that was really surprised me. He's a free agent. Is Alec Pierce. I know we're not talking about receivers, but having him on the staff would be amazing. Just want to see your thoughts on that.
Yeah, he was actually the next guy, Logs, Alec Pierce, on the CBS list, and they projected that he's going to get $20 million a year. We're not going to give Alec Pierce $20 million a year. I don't believe, to come in here after Jacoby Myers got the contract extension. We're not even sure how to work in Travis Hunter on the offensive side of the ball right now. So, I mean, would Alec Pierce look good in a Jaguar uniform? I think a lot of receivers would look good in a Jaguar uniform. I just don't think it's the best use of resources that they could do.
If you didn't have a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., I'd say, oh yeah, let's take a long look at him, just because he's one of the best deep threat wide receivers in all of football. Has one of the highest yards per catch average in the football, and that in the National Football League. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. Along those lines, Alec Pierce is forecasted to get like 20 million. That's the kind of the same level that Devin Lloyd is forecasted to be at as well. And you guys know how I feel about Devin. I like him. I just think that there are some limitations with him as a linebacker, that in coverage you got to just make sure that you protect him a little bit. Are you willing to pay 20 million to a guy that there are certain things that you have to protect him in? It's a great conversation to have, because he is homegrown. He is one of those guys that does everything the right way. He works incredibly hard. He's focused. Works his tail off, but are you willing to have a guy that you're paying 20 million that at times that you would need to protect him in coverage? I don't know. That's a great conversation to have.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't like Devin Lloyd back. It just becomes a question of how much does Devin Lloyd think he can get on the open market, and I think that's where everyone's at. They think the open market's going to make him more expensive than the Jags could afford. Jeff, do you have an opinion on Quay Walker of the Green Bay Packers, who is another one of these CBS top 10 guys as a potential Devin Lloyd replacement? Like if Lloyd got $25 million from somebody, because the franchise tag is going to be like 27, right? I think at linebacker, if I'm not mistaken. So let's say he's priced out of the market. What is your opinion on Quay Walker if you have one as a player?
I honestly, Mike, I don't know enough about him, just because haven't had a lot of common opponents with him. Last year we saw him for a little bit. The little bit that I did see last year, I think he's a good player, but could I sit there and give you a kind of an estimate of what he's worth? I really couldn't.
Okay, I'm just curious because they do list him as a top 10 option on the open market.
Yeah, Logs, talking about Devin Lloyd a little bit here. What got unlocked for him this season? Like we all saw what happened the first 3 years of his career here in Jacksonville. It was at a level where they chose not to pick up the fifth-year option when they could have, and we discussed that a lot last year when that decision was made. He had a second-team All-Pro year, as we just mentioned there a moment ago. They haven't had an All-Pro, by the way, since 2017, when they had two first-team All-Pros in Calais and Jalen, and A.J. Boye was the second-team All-Pro that year for that defense. So it's been a while since they've had anybody in that kind of range on the defensive side of the ball. What got unlocked for Devin Lloyd this season?
Well, I think first and foremost was getting him at a position that he was comfortable at. You know, the year before the experiment, again, going to Ryan Nielsen, moved him to the Mike linebacking position was a total mistake. And if they had the experience of the year before, they would have known that Foye needed to be the guy wearing the green dot. He needed to be the guy in front of the huddle. He needed to be the guy playing the Mike linebacking position. And Devin Lloyd needed to just kind of focus on his job because kind of being the communicator of that defense, that's not really where he was comfortable at. You know, a lot of times Foye had to get Devin lined up for the first couple years. And so, look, this year, I think they did a really good job of teaching. They did a scheme, I think, that was a ton of zone, which played more towards the abilities of Devin Lloyd. And when they had the opportunity of sending somebody in pressure from the linebacking position, if they had a choice between Foye and Devin, they sent Devin because they knew that Devin had some liabilities in coverage. They knew Foye was a little bit bigger. And on top of that, Devin Lloyd has the ability to be a really effective blitzer. So they allowed him to do what he does best. And when you have really good coaching, you put the player in the position to have success, you can have success and give some credit to Tim Lukabu, the linebacking coach, who did a really good job with Devin this year, did a really good job of eliminating the mental errors of past years, and that allowed Devin to play at a very high level.
All right, one more here before we hit the break at the top of the hour. Michael is next on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. How you doing?
Excellent. What's up, man?
I was just talking and retroflect about the players that we lost, as in Ingram, Christian Kirk, and Tanks Bigsby. And I'm thinking, did we give up on them too soon? Do you think we could have gone further if we'd have kept them versus what we got?
All right, that's a fair question. Logs, what do you think compared to what we got out of tight end, let's call it slot receiver, and backup running back?
Well, first of all, I think you got an upgrade at the tight end position because Brenton Strange wouldn't have had the role that he had this year if Evan Ingram were still there. So I think it's kind of hard to argue that they should have kept Evan Ingram. It's also hard to argue that they should have kept Christian Kirk.
Right, we saw Kirk. Right, Kirk. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Kirk was hurt most of the year, right? And
exactly,
we saw him in the postseason. He had a huge game last week, and you're like, oh man, what? Well, we had Parker Washington doing that for us in the second half of the year on a semi-regular basis. I really didn't feel the absence of Christian Kirk at all. I don't know about you.
If you looked at one number in particular, which is yards after catch, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but look at the historic numbers of Christian Kirk and look at Parker Washington, and they're not even close. You know, Parker Washington just does so much more with the ball in his hands. And the reality is that he also, I think, has more flexibility to not just play the slot, but also to move outside. As we saw this year, he was playing multiple positions. So, you know, I think it's a fair question to ask. You know, could you have been even better than what you were if you had kept a couple of these guys? And maybe you could have been a little bit better, but then maybe you might not have been. You know, because sometimes you gotta sometimes clear out the room to allow the younger player to have the opportunities and to have the confidence and to get the reps. And if you don't have that opening, then sometimes you just don't see the bloom of the flower, so to speak, with the player.
Christian Kirk's last 21 games, which encompassed the last 2 years, right? Because he only played 8 with the Jags, and he missed 4 games this year. He scored a total of 2 touchdowns. This year, he was at 8.5 yards per catch. Parker Washington scored 5 touchdowns receiving, plus a couple more in the return game, and averaged 14.6 yards per catch this year. So upgrade in terms of production.
Yeah, and I don't know which running back you would like that we saw this year from the Jaguars to have had less exposure than they did if they had kept Tank Bigsby.
Right, like it's possible any one of those guys could have made a key play,
Yeah.
right? But that could have happened with anybody, right? Like if Tim Patrick had caught a game-winning touchdown, that doesn't make him one of your top 4 receivers all of a sudden. It just means he came up and
like the chemistry they had in the room.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Tank would have helped the chemistry. I don't know if he would have hurt the chemistry, but I'm okay with the decision to move away from him when they did.
I think they might
Well,
have
he
questioned
wasn't
that.
happy.
Yeah,
He wasn't happy. I mean, so the chemistry would not have been where it was at because he was not happy with his role at the completion of the preseason, and it's one of the reasons why he ended up in Philadelphia. And so the one, you've heard coaches in the past and general managers say in the past, and I think it was Mike Tomlin that kind of said it best, and that you don't want guys that have to be there. You want to have guys that want to be there.
Yeah, by the way, Evan Ingram caught 50 balls for less than 500 yards this year with 1 touchdown. I mean, he just...
And his role diminished as the season went
Right.
on.
He only had 2 starts all year for the Denver Broncos. So, yeah, he was a guy who definitely benefited from his chemistry with Trevor Lawrence and his usage here in Jacksonville in terms of his numbers. All right, we got to take a timeout. Appreciate the questions. We'll get back to them coming up in hour 2 with Jeff Logman on Jaguars Today here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
So I guess we got 2 legends then, huh?
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Still friends? You know it.
Together they are The Drill.
I love that name. You should get it on the back of matching jackets.
Bringing the energy every morning
I can say big loud things.
on 1010XL.
Ghost. Skeletor World Tour 2026. Ghost. Theatrical. Arena Rock. January 22nd, 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Ghost. Don't miss Ghost.
This is the kind of sandwich you don't rush. French dip at Firehouse Subs. Premium roast beef loaded with caramelized onions, melted provolone cheese, and topped with Italian seasoning. Stacked on a toasted garlic bread roll with hot au jus for dipping. For a limited time at Firehouse Subs.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 20th, 1980, the Steelers beat the Rams 31-19 in Super Bowl 14 to become the first team to win 4 Super Bowls.
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bold City named 904 Gutters with a Z, the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the team's O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Here's good advice from your friends here at 1010XL. I'm Frank Frangie. The next time you need to send a gift for a birthday, anniversary, wedding, or just for the fun of it, call the experts at Kuhn Flowers. For over 75 years, Kuhn Flowers does it right.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
Joe C. here. I tried playing handyman with my sprinklers and French drain, and royally failed. So I called Clearwater Irrigation and Drainage, and John Haney came out personally, just like he'll do for you.
You know it. And for a limited time, my good buddy Joe C's coming too.
Huh?
Ain't that right, Joe?
I gotta go to the game.
Joe? Go!
Clearwater Irrigation.
At least do this part. And drainage too.
ClearwaterJacks.com. Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the chairman of Underwoods. With Christmas behind us in 2026 here, the last thing you want to hear is somebody trying to sell you something. That's why at Underwoods, we'd like to stop and just say thank you to all the people that came in our stores over the last year. Whether you bought from us or not, we want to thank you for coming in and giving us the chance to help. You see, in North Florida, there are a lot of people trying to sell you jewelry, but at Underwoods, we consider it an honor for somebody to come in and just give us that chance to help. And if we do a good job, we might get a chance to serve again. Having served North Florida since 1928, all of us here understand what a customer really gives us during that visit to Underwoods, their trust. And it's up to us to do everything we can to keep it. So on behalf of everybody on the Underwood team, thanks again for coming into our stores, and we wish each of you a Happy New Year.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update, sponsored by Purple Heart Pools. Canes head coach Mario Cristobal, despite late interception, was proud of QB Carson Beck.
Proud of him. Like to have that last one back. Again, a lot of the plays made got us here to this moment and gave us an opportunity all the way to the end.
The Heat lose as Jimmy Butler goes down in the third with a knee injury, and Golden State pulled the way behind balanced scoring. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
Right now, 52 degrees at 11:05. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Jeff Lageman Tuesday on Jaguars Today is brought to you by Napa Auto Care. Go to the pros Napa know-how. Jack's NapaAutoCareGroup.com on 1010XL.
All right, Jeff Lageman along on a sort of Check the Tape Tuesday. Just check the thoughts of Jeff Lageman on your Jacksonville Jaguars offseason upcoming. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, R.J. Saunders here at World Headquarters along with Logs. Jeff, we go back to the lines here and welcome in Matt in Jacksonville Beach. Next up on the program, Matt, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Excellent, man. What's up?
Good. So impressed with Trevor Lawrence this year. Obviously, I think everybody is. Question though, so a few questions. So the very last pass of the game, was Parker Washington open back there? If you would have hit him or saw him, would that have been gone for a touchdown? And then the second part is, we're hoping he plays the same next year, but if he doesn't, does he get a free pass next year? Or, based on the record, to me, it was Super Bowl or nothing. But anyway, I'll take it off the air.
Well, hold on. What do you mean by a free pass?
Well, if he plays bad next year, he plays the way he did last year, does he get a free pass? Meaning, are we still thinking he's the generational talent as they were saying this year because he played so well? It seems, consistency is a big thing, I would think. So.
Okay. Logside, you can take that any way you like.
Yeah, look, I get what you're saying, and that the level of performance in 23 and 24 out of Trevor wasn't at the level that we saw like in the last 10 games of this past year. And so you want to see a consistency in performance out of Trevor Lawrence that's more in tune with the last 10 games as opposed to the first 7 games. I get that. Because, you go back to 22, and at the end of 22, he had a tremendous finish and carried that in the playoffs with that amazing comeback win against the Chargers. And then you lost, obviously, in the divisional round to the Kansas City Chiefs. And then 2 years have gone by, and then you're going, what happened to that guy? And then this year, when the year started, it was like, well, is he really worth, the $50+ million a year? And then all of a sudden he got hot, so you want to see him kind of return, and he doesn't have to, have 100+ rating games every week like he was putting together, but you want to see that level of consistency at a higher level with him, and totally understand that. And I expect him to, because I believe that the coaching that he's getting between, the head coach, and then also Spencer Whipple as positional coach and Grant Udinski, the offensive coordinator, I think that those are coaches that are all going to continue to coach him and coach him hard, provided that they're all back. If not, then Liam Cohen is still the guy that I think is the straw that stirs that drink for Trevor Lawrence. So I expect him to play at a higher level. Now go to the question about
Yeah,
the last pass that he
right.
threw. We talked about this before,
We did.
but just to kind of talk about it again, no problem. If you actually look at the throw, the safety is staying back, and then once Trevor goes to throw it underneath to Jacoby Myers, then the safety kind of pulls out of his responsibility and comes up. And so it kind of appears that Parker Washington is getting open. And might he have been open? Sure, if Trevor had time. But unfortunately, there was some leaky pressure to Trevor's left, and it was a three-man rush, which is disappointing for having leaky pressure. And I don't think Trevor would have had time to make that throw anyway. And I don't think the safety would have come up if he had stayed back and had time to throw that ball deep to Parker Washington. So I think it's kind of a moot point twofold because he didn't have the time because of the pressure, and number two, because I think the safety would have stayed back.
Yeah, to me, that honestly, I hear that call, and that's a guy who doesn't believe Trevor Lawrence is that good, and he thinks this year was a mirage, and he's wondering when can we get back to bashing Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Sounds like he's coping a little bit.
That's what it sounds like to me, and quite frankly, there's a huge difference between taking the gloves off or however he categorized it, getting the free pass. Okay. Nobody deserves a free pass. Now, if you're Patrick Mahomes and you won a bunch of Super Bowls and you have a down year, maybe you get a free pass, right? But there's a big difference between not getting a free pass and saying, we got to move on from this guy. Trevor Lawrence is clearly more talented than a lot of starting quarterbacks in this league, and you can win big with him. It was demonstrated this year. Just because you went 13-4 doesn't mean you're guaranteed to do anything. By the way, the teams that are still alive in the AFC had better records than the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why they're still playing.
And by the way, he spent most of the last 2 years getting criticized for it.
Right.
So it's not even like there was never a free pass.
I mean, if you're just waiting for us to go, well, if he has a bad year, are we moving on from Trevor? Not at all. Not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, when all Liam Cohen's experience is that Trevor Lawrence led him to a 13-win season. That's it. Anything that came before is not on his watch. So Trevor Lawrence's time with the franchise, to me, was extended greatly, Logs, because they see what he's capable of doing in a Liam Cohen offense, and I don't think they're going to be quick to want to move on from that. I don't think there are many upgrades presenting themselves. Would you want Fernando Mendoza, Jeff, if you had the opportunity to reset the quarterback? If you could get him on a rookie contract, would you rather have Fernando Mendoza? I certainly wouldn't.
Well, I'd rather have the guy that in the last 6 games that he played and ran for 19 touchdowns and only had the one interception at Indy, which is, I said in the broadcast that I still believe that's a good throw because you had the matchup you wanted, which is Parker Washington against the linebacker. So yeah, I'll stick with Trevor.
I just think it's you can be frustrated with Trevor. He's not the perfect quarterback. And a guy like that apparently is not going to be happy with that. He led him to 13 wins after a 4-win season, but because they didn't win the Super Bowl, he's on alert now that we need to stop giving Trevor the free pass. That kind of guy's never going to be satisfied with anything he does. All I'm saying is look to the available options and who do you want to pivot to right now?
I really believe too that that Liam really unlocked something in Trevor.
I agree.
And I don't know if Trevor would be where he's at without Liam Cohen and the way that Liam kind of has that edgy way of coaching. Going back to, when Liam Cohen was on the sideline and was pounding his chest and wanting Trevor to put the ball on the chest receiver. And it, got a lot of conversation earlier in the year. I just think that moments like that are just little telltale signs of kind of maybe what needed to happen. And to me, that just, you have two guys that have very different personalities, and I think they really benefit each other in a lot of ways. And so, very excited to see that edgy coaching style benefit Trevor this year because I really believe it's something that he needed because I really believe this that in the previous couple of years I think there was almost a complacency there with Trevor, and I don't know if he was coached as hard in the previous years.
All right, Appreciate the questions, comments, what have you. We'll react the way we're going to react to them. You can keep them coming at 641-1010 on the phone lines here, and we'll continue to take your calls with Jeff Logman when we return in a moment. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Making the ride home a little more enjoyable.
You keep the crew happy and you can't go wrong, eh, Frank?
Well, that's the idea, sir.
The Frangie Show.
Oh, that's good. That's good fun.
Afternoons on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. This month marks a big milestone for Nimnick Chevrolet. 85 years of serving Jacksonville since 1941. Nimnick's been more than a dealership. It's part of the community. 4 generations of families, thousands of vehicles sold, and a reputation built on doing things the right way. When you hear nobody but Nimnick, that's 85 years of trust behind it. If you bought a car from Nimnick, serviced one, or participated in one of the causes, you're part of the legacy. So stop by and celebrate 85 years with Nimnick, corner of Park and Cassett. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Jaguars Today Tuesday is serviced by Jolington Creek Pest Control.
If you're thinking about getting a new roof sometime this year, Endless Summer Roofing can help. I'm Claudia, owner of Endless Summer Roofing. Stronger materials, expert installation, real peace of mind. A new roof isn't just an upgrade. It's the primary source of protection for your family home. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com for a free inspection today, and I'll make sure you're ready for tomorrow. Endless Summer Roofing. Protecting your home from Florida's endless summers.
Helmets and Heels calls on Jags former middle linebacker Tom McManus to elevate your afternoon.
He's the best. Guy's got it all.
Catch the pros' point of view afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL. Fought for you by Green Law Group for the injured, fighting for you.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Did you know that individuals over age 60 have great results on Awaken 180? See how you could drop weight and get off your medications in just 3 months with Awaken 180's Golden Program. Visit awaken180weightloss.com.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%. It's the lowest in years. Hey, gang, Prosser here. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact, get cash out, equity with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loans. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards, some car loans, and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now. See what option works best for you, but don't miss this big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous rapid equity loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 904-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com. No hard credit pull. 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers.
Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
A new year is the perfect time to finally get organized. Hey, this is Lauren Brooks, and I love our closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live. From closets and garages to home offices, entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and more. Beautiful, functional storage for any space, lifestyle, and budget. Start the new year strong with 40% off plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free in-home consultation. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. Jacksonville homes are selling, but it can take months, and it takes a price lower than you want. Well, getting top price means aggressive marketing, and Chad and Sandy Newman are the Jacksonville experts who have proven systems to drive the demand to sell your home. And they have this unbelievable promise and guarantee. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. If you need to sell now, Chad and Sandy have instant offers. Fast, easy, and stress-free. You want max price? Chad and Sandy are going to aggressively market your home, and they're going to get it. Anthony and Mary in Palm Coast said, we wanted to move back home closer to family. Getting max price was more important than a fast sell, but we had only purchased our home last year, so we didn't have much equity. After just 23 days of aggressive marketing with Chad and Sandy, they sold our house at the price we needed to make the move. Call the Jacksonville experts you can trust, and I recommend. Call Chad and Sandy at 904-414-6200 or chadandsandy.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Jeff Lageman, Tuesday,
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care. Go to the pros Napa know-how. Jack's NapaAutoCareGroup.com on 1010XL.
All right, as we move into the R.J. Saunders era here on Jaguars Today, a reminder, his Twitter handle is now at R, the initial R, has no J, the initial J, meaning he is going to clang it from the outside. That's what it
More times than not.
That's what it indicates.
That's what it indicates.
It used to be R got no J.
Yes.
But somebody decided that an account with 13 followers had to be hacked.
Absolutely. And taking a nap in Lake Charles.
And by the way, it had more than 13 followers, but that was for effect right there. It had 354 followers, and you will find no more new posts from RJ. In fact, there's nothing on there since 2022, RJ, at the old one. So
Right. I think it was like the last time that I did a show in here at the Hogan location before I went to Houston.
You asked people to explain the Jaguars offseason in basketball terms
Yes.
to you, because that's
I was trying to understand
your
before.
love language.
Now I feel that I have a better understanding of the NFL football. I'm going to learn a lot more from you two, so you don't have to explain it in terms I understand. I speak the same language as my fellow Jacksonville Jaguar brethren and sisters. Because I don't know if sisterin is a word, so I didn't want to say it.
I think we can make up words on this program. Thank you, RJ. R has no J. Jeff from JagFan15 on the X platform. Have you seen, or what did you see from the rookie linebackers this year? Do you think any of them could step up and fill a larger role with Devin Lloyd gone?
I think that's going to be interesting. I think it's a little early to say. I would bet that the general manager, James Gladstone, and the coaching staff would want to have more competition there than just staying status quo. If all of a sudden Devin Lloyd is not back and you've got the rookies to kind of battle it out for that one position. I think you'd want to bring somebody in to compete and to maybe bolster that a little bit from a talent standpoint, because I think the rookies have some promise, but I don't think there was enough signs there this past year that would make you comfortable saying, yeah, we're just fine.
Who was the best of that rookie group in your mind, Jeff?
I like Branson Combs. I just think he's got a little bit better ability and coverage. Look, don't get me wrong. I think that Jack Kaiser's got some skills as well. But I like the movement skills and the coverage ability of Branson Combs a little bit better. But I don't think either one of them would be great blitzers like a Devin Lloyd, So, and that's kind of why I say that, I think you got to look at either drafting or bringing in some competition for that position if Devin Lloyd is not back.
Right, if he's not back. I've been perusing this CBS list right now, trying to come up with my short list of guys, and Nakobe Dean is one that interests me, whose price could be a little bit depressed because he's been hurt a lot in the early part of his career, but he is one of those guys that can blitz, can cover a little bit. He can do a little bit of everything, and his price might be depressed because, he hasn't been able to stay on the field. He's a talented guy, and granted, you don't want to put all your money into guys that have, lengthy injury histories, but if you're trying to save some money there and potentially get the same kind of impact, I think he's an interesting name, at least, to monitor.
Well, and I think he's kind of similar to Dennis Gardeck in that, look, you got Gardeck at a really good price because he was coming off of an injury. And sometimes injuries are a result of bad luck and not necessarily a trend for a player. So I think you got to kind of research it. You got to kind of figure that out. And Gardeck, I think his contract is expired too. And he's one of those guys that I thought gave the Jaguars great snaps, not only as the Sam linebacker, which is a limited number of snaps just because of the design of the defense in the modern day NFL, but he gave the Jaguars great snaps on special teams.
All right, let's continue along here with Jeff Lageman on this sort of Check the Tape Tuesday. Steve in Fleming Island is next up here on Jaguars Today. Hello, Steve.
Hi, guys. A couple questions about the same subject. Number one, do you think our GM would make the trade again, the Greg Newsome, Tyson Campbell trade? Do you think, looking
Yes.
backwards, that's a trade he would
Yes.
make again? And
No. Yes.
number two,
Yes.
is
The answer
there
is
any
yes.
is there any okay? Is there anything else in that? Was there anything else involved in that trade in terms of contractual issues or the injury history of Tyson involved in that trade? Just interested in your comments.
I think the reason that trade was executed was simply to get out from underneath of the length of contract that Tyson Campbell had, and they felt that they were getting a player of comparable value that you could say, hey, let's just look and see where the future goes with him, and then we get out from the commitment of the future contract with Tyson Campbell. So to me, it's not so much about that was not really a trade. I don't think so much about, hey, we feel like we're getting a better player. I think the trade was executed there more from the standpoint, hey, look, we think we're getting a similar player, but without the commitment of contract that's there.
And they thought, I believe at the time it was discussed, that Tyson is better as a man corner, and Greg Newsome excelled in zone, and we played a lot of zone. By the way, we picked up, we gave a 7th-round pick, got a 6th-rounder back, so improved a round in draft capital.
I know the
And
contract
I
is
would
going
say
to.
the opposite. I would say the opposite, Mike. I think Greg Newsome is actually better in man after having seen both guys. And Tyson, as you guys know from watching Tyson for multiple years, when he's had his back to the ball, which happens more in man coverage, that's where he struggled to make plays down the field. So I think that was more just about contractual commitment, and they felt like they were getting comparable players.
Did they wind up getting comparable players watching them?
Yeah, I think so. I think Greg had some good snaps. Didn't particularly like the playoff game. There was a mental error on one particular play down the stretch in which I believe it was Brandon Cooks got loose on a deep ball that I think was Greg Newsome. But I like Greg Newsome's style. I think he's a quality locker room guy. Plays hard. And Tyson was one of those good guys too. So I think both guys were strong character guys. You just need to find a way to elevate that play at that cornerback position moving forward for this defense. And I think a lot of the improvement's going to come from Travis Hunter eventually, but you got to find some other options there as well.
How big of a impetus do you put on re-signing Buster Brown, Logs?
I mean, look, if you've got a decision to make between Greg Newsome or Buster Brown, I'm taking Buster Brown. I just think that he's consistent. He's a good tackler. He's physical. One of those guys that he's doesn't demand a role. He's a team guy. So there's a lot of things to like about Monteric, and at the top of the list is how good of a tackler and how physical that he is.
You mentioned Travis Hunter. They'll have Jordan Lewis back as well. So let's presume that's 2 of your 3 starting corners. However they deploy Travis Hunter offensively, you would think right now he figures to play heavily in that defensive secondary. Is Jarian Jones, in your opinion, good enough for that to be the Jaguars' starting trio of cornerbacks if that is the way it plays out?
I like Jarian as kind of a jack of all trades, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that he's not good enough to be a starter, because I think he can start. And as you saw this year, the injuries happen, especially in the secondary. And I think Jarian could actually even play safety if given the opportunity. So I think Jarian is a valuable player wherever you play him at. And much like the offensive line, you want to have some quality depth there. And he's a guy that I think that you'd like to have backing up Jordan Lewis, just because Jordan Lewis is so good at nickel, and Jarian, his best position is nickel, but he's not to the level of Jordan Lewis right now. So I think you'd have comfort in having Jarian as a backup at those 3 spots. The corners and then also the nickel spot.
All right, Stephen Melbourne, before we hit the break, next here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, guys. Logs, I mean, you kind of started hitting on my question with the corner situation. I know Gladstone said they still want Travis to be a two-way player. I mean, in my opinion, I would like to see him full-time at corner and a handful of times on the offense just because, Parker, he really emerged this season. But my question is, should Jarian get a chance at outside, but like you said, more of a backup role, if you will? If they don't sign Buster Brown, unless, he comes on a team-friendly deal, could you see them drafting somebody high, like in the second round or with one of those third-round picks? I mean, I got my eye on the one guy we saw last night in D'Angelo Pons. I mean, the guy on the who announced the game said he could see a lot of teams staying away from him just because he's shorter. But, I mean, I've watched a lot of his games. He plays bigger than what he is. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't really necessarily know him, but look, I think a lot of the future is going to be based around Travis Hunter as a corner, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see the ratio of snaps moving forward. There was a lot of effort given this past year to getting Travis Hunter ready to play offense and ready to play defense both. Um, and I think with the emergence of Parker Washington, I think it's going to give you, I think, a moment to reflect and say, is all that effort worth it? Are we going to get the returns for what we invest? And is it is it the best thing for our football team to have Travis Hunter being a two-way player? And I think that that's going to be some conversation that's going to happen in the offseason. But I think the simple fact is if you surveyed 10 different personnel guys, because I've talked to multiple personnel guys and former personnel guys since the Travis Hunter draft happened, and they're almost split, to where some guys felt like that he would be better on offense and some guys felt that he would be better on defense. And what's the answer there? I don't necessarily know the answer. But I know that this team right now needs a top end corner, and Travis is a top end corner. And I hope that when he comes back, that's the focal point, and then he just dabbles on offense until maybe they find some other highly talented corners to where maybe that role on offense could get a little bit more heavily involved.
All right, hold it right there. We'll come back. Tony will take us around the league. More questions for Jeff. Log him in. Get him in while the getting's good. We've got until noon today, and then one more week to go with Jeff before we hit the offseason hiatus. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL. Many years ago, the fine people of Jacksonville longed for a radio station they could call their own.
Listen up, everybody.
1010XL.
This is our new home.
Jacksonville Sports Radio.
It's a gift. That's what it is.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
It may be winter in Northeast Florida, but it's one of the most important times to protect your lawn. Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. Their winterizer strengthens roots and improves cold tolerance. Pre-emergent treatments stop spring weeds before they ever start. What that means is you set the stage for a thicker, greener lawn when spring arrives. Call today to schedule your winter lawn treatment with Julington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
Jaguars Today Tuesday, kept pest-free by Julington Creek Pest Control.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole-body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
When you're faced with damage in your home from water, fire, or mold, you need a team with the expertise to fix it right.
Rest-A-Pros!
A locally owned, nationally backed franchise that's here to help you when you need them. A team that does it right the first time.
Rest-A-Pros!
Remember, you don't have to use the insurance company's preferred contractors. Get it done right by a licensed professional you can trust. Call 904-201-9151 or go to restaprosanyflorida.com. That's restaprosanyflorida.com.
Rest-A-Pros!
This is Dave Barker with IHRS. Are you frustrated with those trendy pills and lotions that claim to make your hair thicker and fuller? Tired of your hair falling out? Our hair restoration solutions have helped over 10,000 men and women restore their hair in as little as 2 office visits.
Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477 or go to hairforme.com.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional, and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Fine Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie for Lee and Kate's Glass, and I think you deserve a spa-like shower, don't you? Get rid of that dirty, dated setup you have in your bathroom. Those old-style showers can be really ugly. Install a gorgeous frameless shower with thick, sexy glass and a free diamond coating protection that's easier to clean, like Rain-X for your shower. Your bathroom will feel like a luxury spa every morning and night. You deserve it. Visit my friends at leeandkatesglass.com.
You're gonna see a big difference. 1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
All right, Jeff Loggeman here with us as we come down to the final couple segments. I got a bunch here on social media. We'll pass by you, Logs, to get your opinion on. But first, Tony Smith going to take us around the rest of the NFL.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Seattle running back Zach Charbonnet suffered a torn ACL in their divisional round playoff win over San Francisco on Saturday. He'll be out the remainder of the playoffs. His availability for the start next year of the season is now in question. The deal for John Harbaugh to be the new head coach for the New York Giants, reportedly a 5-year, $100 million contract, with reports indicating that the Tennessee Titans had remained in contact with Harbaugh's representation throughout the last 4 or 5 days as they were trying to work out the final details on that deal. Tennessee is finalizing a deal to make Robert Saleh their next head coach. Miami is hiring Green Bay defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley as their new head coach, with the two sides having agreed to a 5-year deal. And there are still 6 head coaching jobs open now across the league: Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, Arizona, and Las Vegas.
Yeah, that is one potential Anthony Campanile destination filled with Jeff Hafley down there in South Beach, and the Ravens still interested. I think Jesse Minter said to be maybe the apple of their eye. Who knows? I don't know what Baltimore's thinking is. Just going by the reports, Grant Udinski is supposed to have an in-person interview, which would be his second interview with the Cleveland Browns. He's in the same boat with about 4 or 5 other candidates there, but many in the Browns media circles are seeking a bold move there, and that would be among the boldest you could make. He would be the youngest head coach, I believe, hired in the National Football League, at least in a long, long time. Yeah. You can't trust anything you see on the internet anymore, Logs. You know, I see things that make the statement, he would be the youngest head coach in NFL history. I don't know if anyone has bothered to to check that or not, but he would certainly be among the youngest. I don't know how good the records were back in the
there wasn't a player coach sometime
1940s.
early on.
There might have been. I don't
Right.
know. So there might have been. Logs, if the Jaguars get Travis Etienne back, do you believe this is the best set of weapons that Trevor will have had in his time in the NFL heading into a season?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a very simple answer to make, just because of, the three backs that you have in the backfield, and BTJ being a deep threat, Parker's emergence, Jacoby just having such great hands. And I think you got a premier tight end and Brenton Strange. So, yeah. And, so excited about what else that they can add to that mix, because I think given a little bit of time, I believe that James Gladstone is going to be able to find even more.
Roughly. I'm just going to give you some rough numbers. I may be off, but if you could sign Travis Etienne for the next, let's say, a 3-year, $33 million deal, $11 million average, or you could sign Devin Lloyd to a 3-year, $60 million deal, $20 million average, and assuming you'd be able to create enough cap space to fit either one under your salary cap, which might cause you to move on from a player or two. Which one of those would be the better investment for the Jags?
Oh, that's a great question.
Isn't that kind of the crux of the offseason to some degree, right? Like, who are you going to invest in and how much you have to do that?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if, I think Devin Lloyd's number is going to get to that level. I really do. Just because, he's been a PFF darling for a couple years. He's had a really high level of production this past year. But I don't know if the running back market is going to be where that number is that you just threw out. It may not be that high. It may be in the eight a year range. So you could be looking at a 3-year, $24-25 million deal. And if I had to answer it with that number, then I'd say I think you take ETN, and then I think you find a way to draft and develop, or sign a guy in free agency for Devin, just because of that's a big number.
Yeah, I use that number for ETN because I know I'd heard some talk of them considering the transition tag to control him for one more year at about $11.4 million, I think is what they project that running back number to come in at. And obviously the benefit of that is you don't have a long-term financial commitment beyond the next season. You could still draft a running back late and then let Bajal Tootin and LaQuint Allen have another year of development in the system. So
I think the biggest thing is with a running back contract is to limit the exposure of guarantees. Just because the last thing in the world you want to do. Because the reality is that that's a position that has a pretty good attrition rate. So if you're looking at, guaranteed, the first year, if all the money's guaranteed in the first year, then you might be willing to go a little bit bigger in the total contract, because the reality is that the contract significance is how much the player is actually going to get versus not just the total sum value of the contract.
Sure. Just looking at the free agent running back group, ETN, one of the headliners, Javonte Williams in Dallas had a really nice year. He'll be an unrestricted free agent. Rico Dowdle, I don't know. He lost a lot of playing time as the year went on. He's 28 years old. He complained about his role in Carolina. I don't think he'd be happy splitting time anywhere, quite frankly. Brees Hall, probably the top of the market when you factor in age and ability. Kenneth Walker, probably now Seattle has more reason to try and get him done because of the torn ACL suffered by Zach Charbonnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, as one of these guys goes, it potentially opens up another spot. So that there are a decent amount of names out there that are pending free agents.
Well, let me ask you this, because I honestly don't know the answer to this. How many Rams running backs got to a second contract since Les Snead has been there?
I don't know what the timeline is on that. Probably the last one to get one was Todd Gurley, is my guess, right? I don't,
Okay.
who do you have after that? Cam Akers was out relatively quickly.
Because I think, if
go ahead.
If you're looking at kind of where maybe the future is going to be, you maybe go back and look at what the past has been
Yeah, I thought
for
Kyron
the
had it.
environment that James Gladstone has been in.
By the way, Kyron Williams is the most recent. Yes, he signed one in August. So he got a 3-year, $33 million contract extension, which is exactly the range we're talking about here. So they did lock him up to a 3-year deal. So he's got 2 more years on that contract, despite, they had drafted Blake Corum and thought highly of him as well, which is not an unsimilar situation to what we have here in Jacksonville. All right, why don't we take a quick look? Oh, we already did our quick look around the National Football League. I meant to say, let's take a quick timeout. We got one more segment here with Jeff Logman, so we'll get to that straight ahead. Hang in there, Logs, if you want to get in at the last minute, 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Frank Frangie here. This month marks a big milestone for Nimnick Buick GMC. 85 years of serving Jacksonville. Since 1941, Nimnick's been more than a dealership. It's been part of the community. 4 generations of families, thousands of vehicles sold, and a reputation built on doing things the right way. When you hear nobody but Nimnick, that's 85 years of trust behind it. If you've bought a car from Nimnick, serviced one, or participated in one of our causes, you're part of the legacy. Stop by and see the folks at Nimnick today, because this milestone belongs to Jacksonville too. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's 2026, and it's time to get your home zero-resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 20% off carpet and upholstery cleaning right now, plus take $100 off air duct cleaning when you mention 1010XL. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of classic rock with legendary Queensryche vocalist Jeff Tate.
Performing the hit album Operation Mindcrime for the final time.
One night only, January 28th at Florida Theater. Timeless hits from the unmistakable voice of Jeff Tate. Get your tickets now at floridatheater.com.
Jaguars Today Tuesday.
Protected by Shillington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
Ticket here for Action Garage Door. Nothing more frustrating than your garage door misfiring. When it does, I call Action Garage Door. They take action. Jeff and Art and crew, Jacksonville folks, not some big out-of-town chain. Something goes wrong with your garage door, take action. Check them out. Garage Door 911. GarageDoor911.com.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
We love talking sports on 1010XL, and I-9 Sports loves giving kids the perfect way to grow up playing the game. Spring and summer registration going on right now. Log on to i9sports.com to see all they've got to offer for kids ages 3 and up. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay. Sign up now for spring and summer. Great new locations added like Tofoy Creek High School and Westside Middle. Get your kids in the game with I-9 Sports. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount at i9sports.com.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller. Hey, pal, is that a turtleneck? Can't you feel it, Jason? There's a chill in the air, a definite nip. I mean, it is January. In Jacksonville, Jason. I didn't come here for cold. Well, I wouldn't call this. Cold weather gives me the sniffles. Sniffles turns to pneumonia. Suddenly, I'm in a hospital bed with a tube down my throat because Florida didn't get the memo about ignoring winter. So switch over to heat. What if my system can't remember how to heat? Dude, put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing can make sure your system is ready to switch from cooling to heat. We'll clean your heating coil to get rid of that burning dust smell and make sure you have the coolant pressure to keep your heat pump pumping out the heat.
I had no idea these sunglasses worked in the winter.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman is brought to you by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, final few minutes here with Jeff Lageman on this Tuesday. Then one more to go as we'll stretch out our look into the Jaguars off-season. 4 teams remaining in the NFL playoffs. Logs, not a lot of turnover for the Jags on the coaching staff, although Ron Miles was let go last week. It was his first year as secondary coach with this team. Did that surprise you at all? And, what do you think prompted that?
Yeah, not sure exactly why that happened, and am I surprised? No, because a lot of times you got a guy that's been around as long as Ron, that he has a lot of relationships around the league, and maybe there was an opportunity for him to partner up with a good friend or whatever, and the kind of going back to you don't want to have players that don't want to be there. I mean, if you got a coach that really wants to join somebody else somewhere else, then you allow that to happen. But yeah, I mean, look, I think that the real key there is Anthony Campanile. Making sure that you try to find a way to keep him. I know that Miami was a possibility, and then the interview that I think that he's going to have with Baltimore is also a possibility. Miami's filled now. And I think he's got a strong chance with Baltimore, and first year defensive coordinator. And I told you guys, I think a week ago, that I didn't think it was likely. But, in this league, you never know. I also didn't expect to see that there were going to be 10 openings in the National Football League either.
Right. Second time in 4 years that we've had 10. And, it's just crazy, some of the high-profile jobs. And I heard somebody discussing this yesterday. They feel like, once Harbaugh goes, anybody can look at themselves and go, well, if that's not good enough in Baltimore, why is what we have good enough here if we haven't had that same level of success? Let's presume for a moment that Anthony Campanile is back in 2026 here in Jacksonville, Logs, to run the defense. Where can he garner the most improvement? Now, it's tough to know exactly what the personnel is going to be, as we talked a lot about Devin Lloyd and Monteric Brown and others that could potentially leave. But where do you see the untapped improvement, or where Anthony Campanile could have the biggest impact, maybe closing the gap with the run defense? Is there a particular aspect of the defense that you see improvement on the horizon if Campanile's back?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Mike, is that when you're a first year anything, I think it's very challenging, and you're so focused on doing your job that I think other things can suffer. And not that you're trying to neglect them, but you're just trying to make sure that you're taking care of this newfound responsibility. And so with Campanile, I believe that now that he's got a year under his belt, calling plays, and there's a comfort there, that it's going to allow him to feel like, okay, I've been there, I've done that, I'm more comfortable now. I don't feel like I have to do quite as much in the preparation of being a play caller. So now I can also do what I do best, which is helping players grow and being a teacher. And so I think that aspect of Campanile will really be on display this coming year. Just having a year's experience under his belt as a first-time defensive coordinator, because he's a great communicator, just like the head coach is, but in a very different New Jersey type of way. But you could tell that a lot of times in practice and in game day, Campanile kind of was in that zone, trying to focus in on his job, which is being a play caller, and that will just become more natural, I think, the more you do it.
And of course, what James Gladstone talked about last week, just all of them know the roster. Now, they don't know it from afar. They know it intimately. They've been around these guys for a year, at least the ones who'll be returning. And Gladstone mentioned that last week, how that's going to help them all do their jobs that much better, Lugs. They don't come in having to learn everything on the fly.
No, and I think also the one thing, if there's small critique that I would have. I think that on defense, you got to be a little bit more willing to play some of the younger guys. And I think there was a little bit of resistance to that this year. BJ Green and Danny Strigo, Branson Combs, I think we saw them all kind of evolve towards the end of the year to where they had a bigger role. And, you guys probably remember me talking about Danny Strigo and the twitchy BJ Green. I thought that they should have gotten some opportunities early in the season and they weren't getting them. So I think that that's an area that maybe you'll gain more comfort, as a play caller and as a defensive coordinator. You're okay, I'm not worried, because I think when you're a first time anything, you're more willing to trust something that you have history with, and less likely to trust something that you don't have experience with. And so going forward, I'd love to see them, be a little bit more willing to play the younger guys and to commit to some of these younger guys that are showing things in practice, but maybe you don't necessarily have a history with.
All right, Logs, as we wrap up and we get ready to welcome in XL Primetime, where will folks catch you the rest of the week?
Outdoor show on Saturday, boys. That's
it,
really going to be it this week. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
enjoy.
Exactly right.
Enjoy a little downtime, and we'll enjoy our final appearance with you for the time being next Tuesday from 10 to noon, Logs.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. There he goes. Jeff Loggeman out the door. Let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
All right, hello, Matt Hayes.
Hello, boys.
How are
you?
things?
Fantastic.
Is Fernando Mendoza worthy of the number one pick in the NFL draft?
I think so.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think some team will think he is.
I don't doubt that.
There will be others who won't think so. He doesn't have elite arm strength, but I think he's got so many of those intangibles that you look for now. And in the NFL, even in college football, it's so much about can you get it there accurately and can you get it there on time? And he does that.
All right. I'm assuming some recap of last night's festivities with the Hoosiers winning their first national title coming up today.
Yep, and we'll also talk Jags with Coach Duff and a little college ball as well with Coach Duff.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Matt, have a good show.
Thanks, boys.
Appreciate it. XL Primetime coming up for the next 2 hours here. Tony Smith. As I look at this list of potential free agents, other than the Jags' own guys, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Your top 3 shopping list. We'll post a list, a good clearinghouse list of who is likely to be available, and then we'll let folks go shopping, and we will do the same tomorrow on the program. I've got a preliminary 3 just from a quick perusal, but we'll dig into that more tomorrow. All right, that'll do it for us. RJ Saunders with that C average going strong. Appreciate him. Jeff Loggeman, of course, Tony Smith. I'm Mike Dempsey. We'll be back at it again tomorrow from 10 to noon with more Jaguars Today here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
You're at the home of the